men don't have the same support system like women do.
I agree with you
So
100%.
so
I agree
like
with you.
I work with men that they will work overtime because they don't want to go home. They're dealing with that same issue, but they cannot open up to people like that because first of all, as a man, if you say your wife is beating you up or you're having issues with your spouse, it's that that you're a failure as a man. It makes you look weak. So
Yes.
the man's ego is on the line here too.
Yes.
Number two, who are you going to talk to that you've been beaten up by your wife? Physical abuse.
Hmm.
So we don't have that support system. Women are naturally better at networking. Men are not good with that.
Yeah.
So when a man is dealing with issues like that, and he boils out and he does something valid, trust me, he's been through a lot to get to that point. To say, you know what, fuck it,
And
I've had it.
I think what you and Egosa, what Yachman and Egosa are saying on the same lines is true.
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, I'm with
There's something-
Yachman 100%. Yeah.
You're saying the same thing. There's something called battered woman syndrome, and that's when a woman has been beaten so much that when she cannot take it anymore, she goes ahead and she
Yeah.
kills one way or the other.
Mhm.
I do not know if there's anything called battered man syndrome, but I think Yachman is saying something along the lines of those parts of saying that when a woman is being abusive towards her husband, in this case, the woman is beating the husband. If he's not able to take it anymore, he can become violent himself and also retaliate back. So you have some men who kill themselves, but you have some men who end up killing their wives. So that's, if I'm understanding correctly, I think both of you are kind of saying the same thing. And we're all agreeing that the support is not the same for men, regardless of where they are in the world, because you'll be laughed at. We've had stories on this platform talking about, the boy child being raped. For example, it doesn't get as much attention as when it's a female child or a woman that it happens to. The same thing like what Yashwan was saying about a man can say he's been raped by a woman and people won't take him seriously. It's very, very true.
And the fear of being laughed at is due to toxic masculinity, because a man shouldn't, it's toxic masculinity because men expect you to be man enough, to man up. I don't even know what man up means. I don't even know what man enough means. I understand what it means, but I don't really understand what it means at the same time to man up.
I can tell
man
you.
up to talk up your emotions.
To man up is toxic masculinity. All those phrases, man up, be man enough. You are not man enough. That's toxic masculinity. To man up is also toxic masculinity.
And I have a question. I'm really appreciative of the fact that you men are calling in to talk. So maybe your fellow men, when they hear you and they hear what's coming out from your mouth or your contribution, they will also be encouraged. My question as a lady is, why is it that sometimes men don't give their fellow men the support when they're entrapped in this type of situation? Like you talked about the toxic masculinity, Egosa, right? So why is it that a guy would talk to his fellow guy or his guys that, see what my woman is doing to me? I'm trying to. Why is it that some of them, it gets brushed aside and covered up with maybe like video games or like drinking and the issue is not really addressed like man to man, like suggestions and all that. Why?
Let me address that as a clinician. Okay, let me address that. Well, I'm more acute here, but let me address as a clinician. So science proves that oftentimes as men, when we go through depression sometimes or issues related to violence, we tend to deviate towards drugs, alcohol, and gaming. So oftentimes when a man is knee deep in alcoholism, drug use, is dealing with issues like that you just brought up. So it channels his energy, his frustration towards something else. One of the reasons why men don't oftentimes share that with other men, or we don't deal with that collective, is, like I mentioned earlier, we're not good at that social interaction. It speaks to that toxic masculinity. You're supposed to man up, like as I said earlier. But also it's part of when it comes to a man's wife or family, men are very sensitive to that. We're very territorial too. So a man does not feel like he's encroaching your space, especially if you never liked your girl in the first place. Like, man, you shouldn't have dated this girl. I have a bad feeling about her. She doesn't like me. So that's your. I like you as a friend, but that's your part. And once you have a kid with somebody, there's limited to what you can share with other people. So people tend to stay clear of that. Number two is also the society where you live in. So if you live in a very matriarchal, patriarchal society, that tends to factor in that. So, and also number three, it also depends on how much the man is willing to devote to his friends. Even if I know, as a man, even if I know you're going through it, if you don't open up, I'm going to assume that you're strong enough to deal with it.
So if the men don't ask, their friends cannot.
Like women now. Women actually
just talk. Women talk, yeah.
What's going on now? You're not looking like guys don't act that way. Even if I see it, until the guys is open up to say, "Oh man, something is going on with me." Because we had like in 2015, I was working in this hospital as a clinician at nighttime, and we were leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning. The story's online. If you Google it, you'll see somebody killed the nurse, right? And we walk into the parking lot. Everybody says bye, and all we hear is a gunshot. Pa, 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 pa. And these are Nigerian families, okay? Turns out this man was waiting for his Nigerian wife at the parking lot and shot her in the head. So we went back and listened to because in America the post did not be taped online. They never want to do a post. So apparently the guy at home killed the three kids in the bathtub, came to the hospital, killed his wife, and called her and said, "You know what? Come and take me. I've killed my wife and I've killed the kids."
Wait. Was this a voice note of? Was this
no. When you call 911, they can post the audio online. They post the audio.
Yeah, was this story from an audio online that the Nigerian man is a nurse?
No. The wife was a healthcare.
Oh, okay.
So he killed his wife, but part of the story was that they were going through a lot. He felt like he sent her to school, did everything. Now she's abusing him. On top of that, she took the house from him, took the kids. He lost everything, and he's even bringing guys to the home he's paying mortgage for. So he got out of control. So what I'm saying is that men don't usually react until that they've been pushed to the wall. Like, man, I don't have any choice anymore. But to speak to the point I was making earlier is that there's nobody to share that thing with. Apparently, it's not been sharing with anybody. And number two, as Africans too, men or women, let me just make this point real quick. As a clinician, Africans, once they hear the word therapy, it's like some kind of demonic force. They don't want to talk to anybody. Like, this sounds crazy. Trust me. Sometimes you need to speak to someone. Therapy is good. There's nothing wrong, especially men. So we are very allergic to the word therapy. And even my friends that are psychologists and they speak to the African men, when they first come in and they form that macho man and they break them down, it's amazing what they come out with. They've been dealing with so much stress from family, friends, society, kids, wife. The pressure on them is so enormous. And I think that maybe we should also talk more about the need for Africans to consider therapy as an option.
Unfortunately, Archman, they think spirituality instead of therapy. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm not saying you should not go to a pastor. God is good all the time. Amen. I know that. But sometimes we all need professional help from time to time to talk to people. Because don't go crazy. Yeah.
Just to interject before either Junior or Egosa answer Yu's question of why men don't speak about these things or they don't have support groups amongst their friends, graciousness is saying that if the friend is suffering in his own house, how can he expect the friend to be able to help him? So that's another thing. If you have two friends that maybe
they don't both of them are suffering,
both of them are in pain, but both of them don't even express it. So is there actually what is true friendship for them? If the friendship is if you cannot tell your guy like
but let me answer that real quick. But that's limited by your experience too. Like I just said, it's cultural, right? Yeah. If I'm supposed to man up, and I'm so it's limited by my cultural experience.
Yeah.
That's why you need professional help sometimes. Talk to someone, even if it's just Just talk to someone, you know.
And the archman, and that phrase "man up" means that man up simply means that bottle it up inside. You understand? So man up means that don't talk about it, be strong, but keep it inside. Just bottle it up inside of you, and at the end of the day, you explode.
Very, very true, Ego. And that's the extreme height of toxic masculinity. I remember taking courses about that in school, and it's like toxic masculinity, man up, all of them on the line, all end up with violence. And that's how like the boy child is also raised. It's like if there's no solution for anything, they're not allowed to channel all their emotions. The man cannot cry. He cannot
Ella, you're already answering my. You're already entering into my contribution. But let Junior say something. He's been quite a while.
I'm a very good listener, so I like to listen. So
okay, yes, Junior, please let's go on with you.
Yeah, I think it depends on the kind of friend that you have. It's not that it does not necessarily mean that if you are talking to your fellow male friend about what is going on in your home, how depressed you are, that he will not listen to you. Or like you earlier said, what is the meaning of the true friendship if your friend cannot listen to you? And one of the things I also want to say is the fact that sometimes when you complain about your friends, even if you're a lady, you're complaining about DV and stuff like that. When it's not physical, people don't necessarily take it serious. A lot of these things are emotional.
Yeah.
A lot of can you just imagine if, let's say, I come to work maybe with bruises and stuff like this, and I'm being asked by my colleague what happened. I'm like, my wife beat me up last night. Like, first of all, I might call in, and say I'm not able to come to work. So I think that's
that conversation will never happen.
Exactly. So
my wife beat me up. It will never happen.
It will never happen. So that's just Yakman said. There is no what is the word? It's not.
There's no support system.
Exactly. There is no support system to actually help men, and even the man will go through a lot emotionally. And if you think about, okay, what is people going to say? Who is going to believe me? And people are going to laugh at me. And according to what Ibosa was saying, that they will tell you to man it up. Man it up could mean a lot of things. It could be just deal with it. Go home and fix your family. Go home and just handle your shit and stuff like that. So when you don't have support system to actually look into it and get the right counseling that you need, it is just an accumulating factor that eventually is going to overfill, and the outcome will not be trivial. So,
okay.
To
address Junior's point about the support system, let me just say something real quick. It also depends on who you're married to. So sometimes if you're married to a narcissist, one of the red flags of a narcissist is that they destroy your support system while you're dating.
Oh yeah.
So anybody that they know that can support you when you're weak, they find a way to get rid of them. So that by the time they get to you, you're already weak. So they know who your go-to people are. So they'll find a way to destroy those relationships before they start doing what they're doing. So you need to also watch for classes of a narcissist when you're dating, so you don't end up with a wrong person. You don't have a female.
With men, I know a situation where someone came to me and said, look, I've got a friend, he's in a relationship, he's got kids, and he wants to move out the house because the woman's beating him up, and he didn't want to speak about it because he's embarrassed, he's ashamed, but he's trapped, he doesn't know what to do. And I said he needs to let someone know. He needs to let someone know ASAP, like, and put his shame aside and put all of that demasculation feeling to one side, because what he's doing is he's sending a signal out to his children that is a normal functioning relationship, which it isn't. There are some serious, you'd think they're alpha looking men, they're built well, they look like they go to the gym, pump weights, and they're taking licks from their woman, and these are black men, and white men and Asian, there's all sorts. Obviously we know, generally speaking, in certain cultures where there's how can I say, certain ideas around women's place and what a woman is meant to do. You know, certain cultures, South Asian communities and what have you, and even that's changing. We're seeing more being done in India about the rights of women, but I would like to see more emphasis on the rights of men, because men are suffering in silence. Someone said, I think it was Amaka who said, you know, the men aren't speaking up. They're, you know, they'll be going through things and they'll just talk about sports and have a very surface level conversation, not to generalize, because I feel like there's also a wave of men, you know, who are becoming
relationships out there.
Say that again. Sorry.
Creating healthy relationships amongst themselves. That's
right.
Just the superficial things. And sorry to cut you in before you even go on. I think Graciousness made 2 great points where they are saying it's also seemed to me that some women have a lengthy list of standards when it comes to choosing what men is suitable for them. However, some men have no standards or a very standard. Therefore, those men would just be happy to settle with a woman, any woman, without analyzing or probably identifying the red flags, which are in terms of characteristics that a woman exhibits. So that's another thing. If you are in a relationship with a woman and you know she's telling you of the things that she put her ex through, that can be a red flag too as well. So people I agree with Graciousness in the sense that there is this thing about, I don't know how true it is, that, you know, men just be with any woman they want to be with. For some men, not all, will just be, but there's no, like, if you see the negative trait in this woman, you think, oh, she's a woman, she cannot do that much. After all, she's just a woman. But you have to take these signs seriously. You cannot have a woman that is obsessed with you, because that obsession can lead to the violence, which is what we are seeing today.
Men, we have very weak support system, like among friends. Unlike women cry. You know, women talk with each other, women cry, you know, they talk about their issues. Then men do not. And men, yes, for men, we have long friendships. You know, we have friendships that may last, you know, 15 years, 20 years. But what do we discuss? Because for men, we may have long friendship, but these friendships are very shallow. We have long but shallow friendship. We end by, you know, we watch soccer, you know, we take a walk here and there. But what do we talk about? At the end of the day, most friendship among men, you know, it's very shallow. So I cannot call Junior. If Junior is my friend, I cannot call Junior and complain about my domestic affairs issue. It's rare. It happens, but it's very, very rare. So we have very weak support system as friends, where it's very shallow. Forget about what you see. Oh, this person is my friend. But what do you talk about? We have shallow friendship, unlike women. Yeah.
I have a question. How, I know everybody has talked about this whole thing about men not having, some of them not having in-depth relationship with their fellow men and all that. I move with the understanding of practicing OQP in my relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic.
What does OQP mean? Because
only quality people. Only quality people, and the individual has to define what quality means to them, himself or herself. My question is, how can men, since we have mostly men here talking now, and then we have Rocky, the lady, how can men start creating safe space for their fellow men? Any ideas from you men? How can you start creating safe spaces for yourselves?
Sorry, before to go, Amakaya, you're right. It looked like a new area from what the
it is a new area,
but still no excuse to be 35 minutes late. If you can't get there, the place should not have been approved for building anyway. But yeah, sorry, Yo-Yo, please.
Yeah, so how can men start creating safe spaces for themselves?
Watching healthy shows like this life,
you know, because there's so much that another person can do. But for men, I think that they have an understanding of themselves. So how can you start creating safe spaces for yourselves? That's the question I have to ask, because we have to be looking for solutions and lesson learned from this situation, right? How can you start creating safe spaces for yourselves? You know, so anyone can, if you have any idea.
That's why I brought up the.
So anyone can, if you have any idea.
That's why I brought up the.
Who is echoing?
I think Yachman, you have to mute your own YouTube and then allow only the StreamYard to
play.
talk.
If not, it will be echoing and we'll be hearing ourselves. Unmute him. Let's see.
Bernard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. So
that was why I brought up the therapy earlier, because I have a friend that he also has a huge following online. He's a PhD in psych medicine, and he had a live stream, and I had professional health providers up, and one of the issues he brought up was healthcare within the African community, and the issue was, even drag African men to the hospital. You see why you African men, women know what I'm talking about. Your husband, for them to even go to see the doctor in the first place is a headache. It's hard. So is to figure out a way. So what we came up on our ON is to provide what you just said, those safe spaces where African men can come in without feeling ridiculed, where they can freely express themselves, not initially to other people because of trust issues, but to professionals that are also Africans. Very important. That are also Africans, because sometimes it's better to talk to people that share the same culture as you. They can relate to you, even though they are professional. But if they're also culturally inclined with you, it makes it easier to open up. Yes. So what we are doing right now in Baltimore actually is to figure out a way where we have this online telehealth where men, because sometimes even coming in is a problem, where you can safely see a professional African men that share the same cultural values and has the professional credentials to address the issues that you're going through. So that's on my part. That's what we figure. That way, when you're comfortable within that space, then you can go to friends and stuff like that, because you're more comfortable in your own skin now at that point. So that would be the more, the better, safe approach. Just to break the ice, if you know what I mean. Just to break that ice initially, then go from there. So what we are saying now is that from the initial startup is the people that we've tried it on, they're now bringing their friends in. They're more comfortable bringing others in to create so we now have that safe space for men to have real conversation beyond sports and drinking and shagging women, to have actual conversation about family. So that's what we tried.
You find that, okay, what is the root cause of some of these situations? You cannot trace the root cause of a problem without involving both genders. If one gender is more expressive than the other gender, it means as a society, we've done something wrong in telling the other gender, which is the male gender, that they are just supposed to be men and suck it up. But to see that there are safe spaces out there for men, and I know this is about therapy, that it's very, very, very hard for African men to go to therapy. And sometimes I don't even think that they know what therapy is. It's like you go and you have a conversation with somebody. The person is not trying to fix you. They are just there as a guide. Or if you're going for medical checkups, the doctors are not there to kill you or something. It's for your own good. So to see that there are people that are actually working on this and creating those safe spaces, it brings a lot of joy and it gladdens my heart.
I think we are living our purpose, Ella. I think this is part of the reason why we're on YouTube. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I guess I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one like really saying this. I'm very, very happy. John is saying we should not forget the cultural factors at play also. Contextually, most of us are from a highly patriarchal
patriarchal society
that won't change.
And that's very true.
That's fine,
and
but that's where the solution
Yachman is coming from and saying that it's baby steps. Baby steps. Children don't learn how to walk in one day. They will stand, they will fall, they will crawl, they will fall. But when they get a hand of it, then they are able to walk on their own and bring along their friends. It's baby steps. But if we don't address these things that are going on in the society, we will just keep talking about it. Yeah. And the people that need these types of videos are those people that are in need. And that is our responsibility to make sure that we're sharing these kinds of videos with men.
Yeah.
Because I agree 100% that women have a lot of support out there. And this is not to minimize the work of women, because women also fought for that kind of support. Shelters didn't just spring up from nowhere. Women saw the need for the shelters, which is what Yachman is saying. They've seen, he and his friends group, they've seen a need that men have to be helped, and they created that safe space where men can just come and
Just
do
call
things.
in.
And I think the more importance we add to healthy relationships, things that are not just superficial, that goes beyond, like Yatman was saying, dating, or how many women you slept with, or this amount of money that you have, or how much you be able to achieve. But as a man, as a human being, how are you? How is your mind? What is going on? Is there anything going on? I noticed that, Baba, you know, you look straight today. You're not looking good today. What's going on? Anything happen? You know,
Talk
just
to your brother.
being able to talk, being able to feel, being able to express, and being able to cry. I think crying is one of the most beautiful things. And I'm sad that men, to narrow it down, African men don't have the privilege of being able to express their full emotion and embrace it. It's part of human life. So I can't imagine that somebody has been told right from childhood that you cannot cry, you cannot complain, a woman is not supposed to do this to you, you're supposed to be the man. They grow up with all this macho-ness in them, and at the point where they reach their breaking point, they see no turning back apart from violence.
Yeah.
But to be able to address all these things, you have Amaka here, who is a mom. Yeah. She's already training her sons in a healthy way. Healthy way. Those men, those boys who grow up to become formidable young men, a force to reckon with. We have great men on this platform that are not afraid to speak their mind, to share their emotions, and tell people what's going on and how they're handling situations. Maybe I'm talking too much.
No, you are speaking. You are speaking our mind.
Stop. I don't know if somebody
Yes,
else.
sisters, can I come in?
I will just keep going. Please, carry on.
Okay. I think by now you guys will know that one of my favorite words on this platform is socialization.
Yeah.
I use that word a lot. Socialization. Okay. And how are men groomed from young, from birth until they become men matters a lot. You understand? Because the emotion of men gets killed from when they are babies. For example, the famous word we all know, the famous sentence we all know it: men don't cry.
Yes.
You understand? Men don't cry, and that is toxic. That is toxic. If they say men don't cry, if they say men don't cry, what does it mean? It means that do not share your problems. Always pretend. That is, pretend that you're strong. You understand? Do not show that you're weak. Don't shed tears, both internally or physically. Do not do that. Of which it is toxic. Down the line, it is toxic, and it forms shallow friendship, because once men are being groomed not to be emotional, they form shallow friendship. They don't share things with their friends, for example, because I'm having some kind of it's a healthy exchange with on the comment section with gracious greatness. You understand? Yeah, you know. Once you are being told that you should not express your emotions, you understand? Then, which means that you cannot be expressive. So what do you, yeah. So what do you do with your friends? What do you do with your friends? You will not share your pain with your friends, because why? The society has taught you not to express it. So so automatically you may form shallow friendship, long friendship for 10, 20 years, but it's been shallow because you don't share problems. You only share enjoyment, drink, watching soccer, talk about women and all those things. But you don't share your issues. So for me, it is that kind of friendship is shallow. But women will call, hey, Ella, where you dey? Please, I want to talk to you. And they cry, you'll be crying. You'll be crying. Oh, Ella will be like, oh, calm down. Where you dey? They come. Ella will even sleep over. Comfort you.
We'll go and get our nails done. Talk about it.
How many men do that? How many men do that? Close to zero. There are some, and gracious greatness, some men do that, but most men are not connecting on that same level with their fellow men. You see, but women connect so they easily. So women sometimes, even no matter what they are going through, they don't break down. That they don't fall.
You don't reach their breaking point
emotionally than men. That is why some men bottle it up so much, and at the end of the day, they explode because their emotions are not being expressed. You see. So at graciousness, I think you're listening. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry that I generalize, but most men have shallow friendships.
You understand where you're coming from, Ekosa?
Okay. So before you talk about Bimpe's question, I have a statement to make to men. Just a statement. I won't call it advice or suggestion. why would you want to be with a woman that you cannot be vulnerable with,
Mm-hmm.
or the woman does not respect or is not open to your vulnerability?
Yeah. As a woman, I will have a problem if my man
Man
cannot be bare to me.
vulnerable.
Like,
Yeah.
I
I
want
just
to be
wanted
bare
to
with
open
you.
that statement there. That's all I wanted to open
Mhm.
on the statement. So some men, that's what graciousness. When graciousness, I didn't even see this before. Graciousness is some women lose respect for a man if he cries or shows some sort of emotion. I've heard a number of women say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Why would you want to be around such kind of women?
Mhm.
Whether it's a platonic friendship,
Yeah.
or a romantic friendship, or agape friendship, or even blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be around I don't want to be around that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Not to talk of considering that person to be somebody I will live
your
with for the
lover.
rest part of
Mhm.
my life. Then why are
Mhm.
we together? Why are we together? That's just something I wanted to put
A
out there.
statement to put out
You
there.
deserve somebody who you can be vulnerable with, who
Mhm.
would respect your vulnerability,
Who wouldn't judge you
and who wouldn't
based
judge
on
you.
your gender? Because what is this gender we're talking about?
Yeah.
It's just two different genitals.
That's it.
So yeah, and to see what Bimpe will see you. Thank you for watching. In the background, Bimpe is saying, "Sorry, I've been busy going in and out of the house. I can't call him. Will it be possible to get the information about his friend and the platform that supports men?" So that's up to Yachman. Yachman wants to share that information on here.
That's up to Yachman.
That's up to
Yachman.
to Yachman to divulge.
Yeah. So where Yachman, you there? Yachman. Okay, so let's be rounding up. Rounding up. So whoever wants to go first with their words of final encouragement or advice, so that we can round up the show for today.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can go first.
Well,
sorry. Let me put an email down here. I was trying to. So if anybody needs anybody to talk to, or they need help, they can email me and I forward it to them.
Yeah,
okay.
So if you put the email in the comment section, we'll pin it to the screen.
Yeah.
Adewale, you wanted to go ahead and go first.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to answer the previous question you guys asked, but like you guys kind of talked. So based on the friendships I've had in the past, think I always do this. I'm always among a group of friends, but there's always this one guy that I'm closer to than everyone else. So it's that guy I tell my personal problems and things I'm struggling with. But the others, like, because us guys, whenever we meet, it's usually to like have fun. We play football, or we talk about like Premier League, which I never really understood because I don't have the time to watch football all the time. Or sometimes
now.
yeah, sometimes people talk about like girls, like that's another thing they talk about, and we never really get past that level. I don't know why that is, but I guess I don't know why that is, but it's just something I noticed. We never really get past that level. So sometimes I tend to be quiet at the end of the day because I really don't have much to say because it's just surface stuff. But I always have this one person I talk to, like just talk to about my problems and we talk about deep stuff. So I think that can actually be a very good thing for us guys to do. Could be among a group of, like, you could have a group of friends, but you could also have this one person who you know that is ready to listen to you, listen to your problems, and the person can offer like good advice or make good recommendations. That actually helped me. So that could be a good suggestion. And I think another reason why like guys never really have like deep relationships is because most of us don't actually have good relationships with our fathers. Because yes, we don't like like, for example, for me growing up, my dad only just cared about education. He never really, like, there's so many questions I wanted to ask him, like as a young boy growing up, but I couldn't because he just never listens. Like, because if it had nothing to do with education, he just never cared. So there's certain time, like, growing up as a young boy, there's certain experiences you're gonna have, and your mom not necessarily understand it because she's a woman, or your sister would understand it because she's a girl. So you want to like talk to your father, and like it's that communication is not there. And it wasn't just me. Like, I even asked my like guy friends around. It's also the same situation with them.
like their fathers are kind of, I don't know if it's an African father thing or maybe it's just my own father.
I
They
think
tend to, what I noticed, like they tend to be
stop.
standoffish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
standoffish. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Yes.
I think it's an
a
African
majority of many African fathers do
this.
that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so this, I don't know, because African fathers just think once they provide for you, they
That's
pay
it.
your tuition fees, they
Yeah.
provide food for you and shelter. That's it. But
I
there's a
think-
lot more to being a father than just provision. There's a lot
think-
more things, and
I don't-
and
I think
I think we
probably
already
had
we did a
separate live
video.
show.
We did a live show. I think it was last year.
Intentional
Parenting, where fathers came to talk. So
Yeah,
maybe,
so-
maybe
we'll do
in the
something
future we would do something following up on this,
of
like,
about fatherhood and something, and hopefully like
Yeah,
some fathers or sons will come in.
and talk, right?
Mhm.
Because I understand exactly what Adewale
Adewale
is
is
saying,
saying.
and it's very common,
Mhm.
especially among many African fathers.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I think we will put it on our to-do list, maybe to
Mhm.
do a video dedicated
Live
to
show.
just live show on the whole, focusing on the fatherhood parenting in terms of the African context.
Yeah, because like for me, I just think like the first male friend a young boy has is his father. And once that's not there, they can't really make like
Healthy
other
decisions.
healthy decisions like making good friends, or like they can't really have that deep relationship with other boys their age.
Very,
It's
very
just
true. Yeah.
it's just not going to be there. So I think if we can improve that in our community, then
That's
I think a
one
lot of men would have like good relationships with other men. So that's the suggestion I have. Thank you for having me, and I really enjoyed the show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Bye bye.
All right.
Bye.
And for anybody who like Bimbe or anyone else, this is an email for Yat here. So you can read in the comment section or on there. And if you have any questions, you can send him an email. And just if anyone goes, I think Gracious is saying something very funny here. And I just want to talk about it. I said, this common sense stars. I know we're common sense and I know be feminist, but I appreciate you both. I'm thankful that you're having this convo. That's good. It's okay. What's wrong being a feminist?
So yo.
Yes.
I just want to answer your question in regards to why can't men be vulnerable and show emotion towards their women.
No, why
right?
No, why can't? Why would a man be with? Why would a man? No, why can't? Why would a man? Because the why can't is what all of us has been answering here. Why would a man, right, want to be with a woman for the rest part of his life that he cannot be vulnerable with? He can't be his true self. And the woman cannot accept. I think this thing is backing, Junior. The woman cannot accept for him to be vulnerable. She can't accept. She that space is not respected. Why would a man want to be with such a woman for the rest part of his life? That was the question I had. Right, Gina, are you there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that maybe society has a role to play on it, and there is also a say that how do I put it? I think some people would say that when a man is vulnerable, or maybe it's okay for a man to cry or show emotion towards the woman that you're with or your wife. Some people will say that, why is a man doing that? It shows that you cannot protect the woman, that you are not supposed to be vulnerable. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like, a man is supposed to be there to protect the wife or to protect the girlfriend and stuff. So if you're showing that emotion, or you're showing that vulnerability, or maybe crying over something, it makes you a little bit less of a man. But I think that discussion will be best play out during maybe courtship, talking about it and saying, baby, it's okay. It's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to be vulnerable. It's okay. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't mean that you cannot protect me if I'm in danger of something happens. I mean, we have to talk about it more, and also perhaps create more awareness in that regard. I think that is just a step, making it okay, just letting us know that it's okay for us to be vulnerable. It doesn't make us less of a man or diminish our masculinity in that space. So
Thank you very much, Juno. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing? I have to come back in again.
Correct, carry on.
I think what we're trying to figure out is like, how do we figure out the balance between showing emotions and being strong at the same time? Of course, I know women don't like if you're crying all the time. That would be too much. But how can you be strong as a man, but yet be accessible to the woman emotionally, where you're not stoic in nature and you closed off? So it's but those things that are better discussed in men groups. These are men topics within the men's space only. Sometimes.
Okay. All right. So who is rounding up? Who's going first with their final words? We've been here for over 2 hours because it looks like people don't just want to go.
Can I just say
we have to go. Okay, I think Rocky was
saying
speaking.
something.
Yeah, in response to what was it Junior or Yachtman just said about the balance between being able to feel vulnerable and yet not be demasculated for doing so. That's a very important thing, because I feel like this society already really, it's one extreme to another. It's either you're a alpha male, which whatever that means, and it's either that or you're sensitive and how can I say effeminized. And I think it's about men getting back in tune with their divine masculinity and understanding what responsibilities it takes to protect a woman, because we're not hunting, we're not in hunter-gatherer mode anymore. So it's not as hard as it used to be. You know, obviously like there's pressures in society and what have you, but with, you know, with that support in place, and as time goes on and you've got these wonderful safe spaces that are going to pop up, and they already are popping up. I've also posted some information about the domestic violence helplines and organizations that people can access, but I think it's just about self-love. It just comes back down to self-love once, and also it's about the family. It starts with the family and the individuals. Once we know how to govern our own households and teach our children healthy, functional ways of interacting with one another, loving one another, caring for one another, a lot of these issues will resolve itself within the Black community. I don't know about the wider, wider society, but specifically in terms of the Black community, the more we start to adopt alternative, forward-thinking ways of parenting, where, we're having family meetings, the children feel comfortable to approach their parents and talk and open up about certain things. And then that has a knock-on effect, because then, respect doesn't have to be about fear. It's now about, okay, I can go to my parents, and then that will, because there's also domestic violence amongst teenagers, that's also a thing as well. So, and certain parents don't know what's going on with their children. But anyway, to round up, I'll just say self-love. That's it. We deserve it now. This is our time to rise up, and it starts with the heart. We got to live in love and not in fear, and just love ourselves and love one another,
Thank you so much,
Very,
Rocky.
very true.
Thank
Self-love.
you.
If you love yourself, you would not be with somebody that does not
Treat you right.
or
Yeah.
complete you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very important.
Thank you so much, Rocky. Thank you.
I see Egosa unmuted himself, so Egosa will go next.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've spoken a lot today. This is the last one.
Almost 4 hours of more than
Yeah. Okay, my last word is that for men, it is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to be emotional. It is okay to cry. It is okay to hug your friend. There's nothing wrong in that. So it is in our hands to unlearn what we learned while growing up, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and it will help us a great deal. Like who said this? Margaret Mead. She said that we are not the product of our environment. We are a product of our choices. we may be making excuses of how we were socialized, but we have the choice to change that. We have the choice to change that. So for men, we have the choice. We have the choice to change all these things. You understand? And walk away, like Junior said at the beginning of the show. Walk away. If you see something wrong, walk away. If you see all the red flags, walk away. Do not give second chances. There are no second chances in domestic violence. Do not give a second chance. Walk away. As for the church people, church people, they'll blackmail you by saying that a divorce is bad. One of the biggest lies being told in the churches today is that God hates divorce. That is one of the biggest lies ever told in Christianity, that God hates divorce. God is the biggest advocate for divorce. He loves divorce. That's a topic for another day. But walk away, get a divorce, and save your life. Thank you very much, sisters.
Thank you so much, Thank you for your time. Thank you for
your mic.
For your mic.
For the echoing and running away.
Thank you. We appreciate you, and we hope that you have a wonderful evening. I guess it's probably weekend, obviously in Sweden. Okay,
Junior. We're ending with Junior today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go back to what I said before. So all the relationship and divorced people out there should just pay attention to what you're doing in your life, and please, because the truth is that this story will keep happening. This is not going to be the end. I remember, I believe there was a lot of, if you follow social media, if you listen to what is happening, there was a lot of delete that was going on. Spouse killing their husbands, husband killing their wives and a lot of people were blaming it on the pandemic because of the lockdown. The truth is that I don't think it's just a pandemic. The only thing I think that is the pandemic just made it more prevalent. It has been happening. So people, and it is going to keep happening, not just only in Canada, US, London, any part of the world. Even Africans were doing it. So the problem is that, and the thing is that a lot of women seems to be so vulnerable in this relationship where they don't think these things are going to happen. Then you see the man is planning so evil. They will delete the kid. They will come to the wife's office and they will just. So you keep wondering what happened. So people need to pay attention to what is happening. Just like Egosa said, like if it's toxic, please leave. Like it's not worth it. It's not a do and die affair. Sometimes it's better to stay single than to get into marriage that is gonna claim your life. So whoever that is out there that is gonna see this video later on, or if you just the waka pass and see this video, please pay attention to this. Like it might be, you might think that you don't have much. Maybe the guy is the provider or the lady is the provider. It doesn't mean that life will not go on. Your life is more precious, and please leave, because if you die in the process of you're in a relationship, I'm telling you, you're going to be the one to lose, and life will still move on because life will continue to be involved. It doesn't stop for anybody, so it's not worth it. The most important thing is to be happy, and if you're not happy, I don't know what you're still doing there. So I'm going to end it on that note.
Very beautiful ending. If you're not happy, I don't know. We don't know what you're doing there. We honestly don't know. Like, it's so beautiful. There are places to visit. Like if you work so hard, you should enjoy your money. Why will you be coming back to the same environment where you're not feeling at peace at, and you're going to supposedly be with this person for the rest of your life? Live now. What do we used to say? Live now while you have your life.
Yeah, live. I used to always say, live full and die empty.
And live now while you have your life.
That's a phrase from one of my favorite speakers, Leslie Brown.
See?
Thank you very much.
But the last part is also that, please, if you're going to leave, I mean, if you're the one in the relationship and you know that is so toxic, and I think it's been advised that you don't let the abuser so just try, maybe if they are at work, or maybe you have a very good friend that you can talk to that can help you, make sure that they don't see you when you leave, and just maybe get help, because please don't tell the person that you're leaving, because that will get them angry and may even make them plot evil against you. So you can just do a self-thought within yourself, and and just say, okay, I'm going to figure out and get help and just leave. Don't vocalize it to them and say that you want to leave, because I think that is where the anger and the devilish and negative thought comes into play. But please, it's not worth it, because we can sit here and talk about this all the time, but I'm sure this is not going to be the last time we're going to hear this. But I just pray that people actually listen, because they need to listen and see that it's not healthy. But that's it. Yeah.
Very true. Thank
Thank you so much, Junior. And I hope that you have a wonderful evening.